Hey everyone, welcome into another episode of the Inside Voice podcast, and it is a very special week. If you're listening to this the day that it drops, we've got Christmas just a couple of days away, and it's really exciting. I mean, come on, who doesn't love Christmas, right? Whatever you're into in the holiday season, whether it's, being with loved ones, opening presents, sipping on hot cocoa, all of that stuff is happening this week, and I couldn't be more thrilled to be joining you. Thank you so much for being a part of the Inside Voice podcast as a whole, but also for inviting me in on such a special week. I'm so thrilled to be here. We've been doing our Season's Greetings series, and we've been talking about a lot of the messaging that we see around the holiday season. It's everywhere, things like hope and joy and cheer and peace and love. And, we see it on coffee mugs. We see it on bumper stickers. We see it, if even people do bumper stickers anymore. I don't know, that feels like such a 90s thing. We see it on ornaments that are hung on the tree. We see just this messaging of these greetings. We even see the word Season's Greetings everywhere, right? So we've been diving in and analyzing each one of these 5 core Season's Greetings that we see: cheer, joy, peace, love, and hope. And coincidentally, that's the order that we've been going in. But we've been diving in, talking about what these things actually are, how they apply to the holiday season, and we've also been talking about how do we cultivate these things to actually be activated in our lives. How do we actually cultivate cheer? How do we actually tap into joy during the holiday season, even when the holiday season doesn't feel so merry and bright? And how do we tap into peace or create peace? Or better yet, how do we give peace to other people during this holiday season? And this week, I went back and forth on what one I wanted to do next. Love just seems to be the most obvious. We can get to hope next week as we get, we wrap up December and wrap up 2025 and jump into New Year and New Year's resolutions. Love to me just goes hand in hand with Christmas. We think about what Christmas is truly about, the birth of Christ. We think about this new promise from God of redeeming us to Him and having a deep, intimate relationship with Him through Christ. But also, I think, as we go through this week and we spend time with loved ones and we gather with one another and we experience this wonderful, joyous holiday, it's so easy for us to feel love. So we're going to maximize that. But also, another aspect to this Season's Greetings series is these are things that we want and can use any time of the year. It's not just the holiday season that we want and need joy. It's not just the holiday season that we want and need peace or cheer or hope or love. Oh my goodness, we want love every single day, every single moment of our lives. It's just like, it's in our DNA. We want to feel love. We want to give love. Love is the way. Love is the answer. So let's start with our definition of love. And before we get into that, actually, I want to talk a little bit about how love kind of gets thrown around a lot these days. We use love for everything. Have you noticed that? I love this. I love that. I love your skirt. I love this cup of coffee. Oh, I love that store. I love, this vacation. I love that destination that we go to. I love that country. I love this car. Like, we love a lot of things. And while it's great to bestow love on a lot of things, it's also a little difficult and sad to think that love could be cheapened. Difficult's not the right word there, but it is sad and maybe disappointing that love could be thrown around so much that it loses its luster. It loses its shine in a way. Love is extremely powerful. And like we've talked about with the other greetings, like cheer and joy and peace, love is something that we can wield as we go out into a world that sometimes can feel very dark, can feel very uncertain and frightening at times. Love is incredibly, incredibly powerful. And if you can harness that and if you can give that to other people, this world would be a much better place. But let's get into the definition of love. Love is an intense feeling of deep affection. And I find this interesting because as we talk about love kind of being cheapened, because, we love our shoes and we love this color and we love, the way that this room is lit or something like that. Like we love, 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 love everything. Um, I would think if you truly thought of love in those moments, you'd be like, oh, I actually don't have deep affection for my shoes. No, I actually don't have deep affection for my haircut, like I like it. I may be a little bit obsessed with it, like can't keep my mind or eyes off of it, but a deep affection towards something. I also think when people, this has become so common as of late in conversations, say, oh, I love that. I love that. I love that. It's like we don't know how to respond in the moment. So we feel like the best way to respond is to overly affirm somebody and what they said. I see this in interviews a lot. I have done this in interviews as well, where I'm interviewing an artist and they say something and I'm like, oh, I love that. Mostly because I'm just trying to figure out how to transition to the next topic without making them feel like I didn't care about what they said. So we like overly affirm people by saying, oh, I love that. I'm a victim of it. It's a crime that I commit often. But did I have a deep affection for what Lainey Wilson said about that? Probably not. But it was a good point that she brought up. Love is also defined as a great interest or pleasure in something. Love is defined as deep, enduring feelings of care and warmth and connection with someone or something. I mean, that's definitely something that we feel during the holiday season, right? The care, the warmth, the connection, with someone or something, with the holiday in and of itself. We definitely feel love this time of year. It's also a recognition of value in something. I think about this ring that I'm wearing. I love this ring, not because I'm trying to overly use love, but this ring was actually my mother's. And for those of you that don't know, my mother passed away almost 4 years ago. And this was a ring that I remember her wearing. And so I kind of like had my eye on it. But it's also a ring that was given to her from my father. So there's a lot of meaning behind it and it's special. So yes, I see the value in it. I do get pleasure from it as I wear it. I have great interest in it and have since I was a child. And I do have affection for the meaning behind it. So while I like knock people for overusing love, I am not at all saying that you can't love things, that you can't love environments or places. Gosh, I think my husband and I went on a trip a couple years ago with some friends to Colorado and we went snowmobiling and I'd never been to Colorado in that capacity, like in the snow, in the mountains. I'd never been snowmobiling. And even though I grew up in the mountains in California and experienced snow, it wasn't like knee deep snow. It wasn't these super high elevation mountains with like deep ravines and we're weaving in and out of these trees and everything. I had never experienced anything like that before in my life. And I remember just the awe and the wonder of it and really loving the experience and really loving the environment that I was in. You absolutely can have love in that way. You can love a person, place, or thing. Let's just put it that way. And the nerd in me also was very curious about how love affects us in a physical way, like on a brain level, like when we experience love, when we feel love, when we receive love, when we give love, there's a neurochemical state that our brain goes into. It starts like firing and secreting all of these hormones that are so good. They're the feel good hormones, dopamine and oxytocin and serotonin, like all of those start flooding the system when we're feeling love. And that stimulates things like bonding and pleasure and attachment. And that's why we feel so much love during the holiday season. We're feeling connected with people. We're loving on our loved ones. We're experiencing love from our loved ones. And it's like, oh man, we start having all these feel good hormones that are just like flowing through us, So while love is extremely easy to feel during the holiday season, there are ways that we can, cultivate and maximize love. Love to me, on a personal level, if you would indulge me for a second, maybe it's John Mayer that said it best. Love is a verb. It's an action. It's a commitment. It's a, gosh, that sounds so like militant, like it's a duty to love somebody, but it is manifested through action. It is a feeling, but it's not like, oh, the butterflies in my stomach kind of feeling. It's like this feeling and this want to put somebody's need or well-being above yourself. It is this safe place that you want to create for somebody where they can let their guard down. It is a natural reaction to something that you value or you treasure. It's very much in motion for me. I feel like love is. It's manifested in the way that you show up for people, the way that you serve people, the way that you love on people with hugs or kisses or whatever it might be. But I think love is best defined in the Bible. And this is something that you've probably heard. You've probably heard this before. If you've been to a wedding, you've probably heard this. It is the love verse. Love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it is not rude, it is not self seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but it rejoices with the truth. Love always protects, love always trusts, it always hopes, and it always perseveres. We talk about love being an action, but I think also love is something like, that we can take into the world. I feel like the last couple of weeks I've used the word weapon, which I know can be like so off-putting to people. But, when we think about this world, it's a scary place and it can be dark at times and it can feel so uncertain and shaky. And I feel like love is like this thing that we carry into us, into the battlefield. But it's also like this light. I don't know why I've been thinking about Lord of the Rings so much lately, but I think of Gandalf, like charging into this war, like when he comes back, it's Two Towers, right? I love Lord of the Rings. I'm not a historian, but I have this vision of Gandalf when he comes back as Gandalf the White, and he is just charging ahead, and he's this beacon of light in this darkness. And when all hope was lost, like he's just there. He's like on the mountain. Okay, I'm gonna start nerding out. If you know, you know. If you don't, watch the movies. You don't have to read the books, okay? I'm not going to give you a reading assignment, but watch the movies. They're absolutely incredible. But that's what I think of, so much like the other things like hope and peace and cheer and joy that we've talked about. Like this is something you carry with you to drive out the darkness, to drive out the hard times, to be something that you lean on in the hard times, something you can anchor yourself to. That's what I think love is. And the Bible speaks to love, the Bible very much values love. I mean, 100% God is love. It's who he is. It's what he is. It is his innate nature. It's love. So it's no wonder that like we're also called to love and we're also called to prioritize love. But in the Bible, it tells us, Jesus is asked by his disciples, like, what's the greatest commandment? And the very first thing he says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind. Right after that, however, you know what else he says? Love your neighbor as yourself. So again, we are commanded to love. We are commanded to love him first and then allow that love to spread out to everyone else. In John, it says, by this, everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another. We are called to love others. We are called to spread love. We talk about fruits of the Spirit. It's love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, and self-control. Like love is the first one listed. And I don't think that there's like a coincidence there because again, Jesus told us the greatest two commandments both involve love for God and love for others. But like I think that if we are filled with love, we should like be bubbling over with that. Like that's a fruit. You think of a tree, like a pear tree bears pear fruit, an apple tree bears apple fruit. Like we should be so filled with love that people consider us like a love tree because that's what they see us produce, like love fruit. Does that make sense? And when it comes to Christmas time, again, it's so easy to experience and feel love this time of year. It's everywhere. It's just a part of the season as we gather with loved ones, as we pull out old traditions from back in the day, as we remember people that maybe aren't doing Christmas with us this year. Maybe, we have loved ones that have passed away. I think about ever since my mom passed away, there's just one part of Christmas that's just not there anymore. And as sad as it is, it's also, I feel a lot of love because I know that she's supposed to be here. Does that make sense? Like, it's almost like you're sitting at the table and like that one person's supposed to be at that one chair because they always sat in that chair and they're not here anymore. And even though there is sadness in it, you're also like overcome with love because you got to experience Christmas with that person at some point, and you love the memories of that person. And it just, love can manifest and build up in so many different ways. So how do we cultivate love during the holiday season, so we can not only use it for Christmas and experience it fully, but also so we can share it with others, and we can share it and tap into it throughout the rest of the year. That's one of the things that we're trying to do with this season's greetings series, is tap into the things that are being thrown at us during the holiday season and use it throughout the rest of the year. Because you want love all year, right? You want love from other people. You also want to cultivate love. So how do we do that in the context of the holiday season? And then how do we use that to our advantage throughout the rest of the year? Well, during the holiday season, cultivating love is easy. All you have to do is just remember the reason for the season. It's the birth of Christ. It's remembering the reason why Christ was sent to this earth. It was for you and for me. It was for us to be redeemed and reconciled and brought back to a deep, intimate relationship with God that we were always supposed to have, but the fall of man and sin got in the way of that. And Christ coming in removed all those barriers so that we could have this communion with God that we had never had before the arrival of Christ and before the death of Christ as well. God loved this world so much that he gave his only begotten son. He knew what the ultimate ending to the story was going to be, and yet he still gave because he loved us that much. Jesus came to earth like he knew what his end was going to be, yet he still walked with us, forgave us, loved us, and ultimately gave his life for us. You know the saying, I'm sure it's in scripture, but you've probably heard this just as a saying. We see this a lot, around like Memorial Day, when we're thinking about our men and women in the military that have sacrificed for us and paid the ultimate price for our freedom. Greater love has no man than this, to lay down one's life for his friends. That is found in John 15:13. That's what Christ did. He gave us that example. And speaking of him being an example, like we look at the life of Christ and we see how much he loved others and how much he loved you and I, and how much he made time for people, and he healed people and took care of people, and it just and sought out people that were marginalized or people that were considered less than in society. Like he went to those people, he ministered to those people, he sought those people out. That was out of love. And so I think about that. His arrival on this earth was definitely like the biggest history defining moment. And it was such an act of love. So tap into that this holiday season and you'll start feeling the love bubbling up, But remember that as you go through everyday life, knowing that there was a sacrifice made on your behalf, and that you can have this wonderful relationship with God because he sent his son to die for you. Like, when that is how you start every day, when that is the perspective that you're putting on yourself every single day, I think it would be really hard not to feel loved, but it would also be really hard not to share that love with others. And again, that's what we're called to do as believers, right? We are called to love God first and love others. I think another way that we can cultivate love during this holiday season and even in everyday life is to serve someone. It's easier to serve in the holiday season, right? There's so many opportunities to serve. It's kind of like the messaging that we're getting from everywhere, like People are being encouraged to give back or donate, whether it's toys or like non-perishable food items, stuff like that. We see a lot of food drives and a lot of clothing drives and stuff happen during the holiday season. Like it's everywhere. So it's a little easier for us to tap into love and an act of service during the holiday season. But this is something that I think you can seek out any other time of year and feel and give love. Take time to do something for someone else, especially during the holiday season. Cook a meal, volunteer, shovel somebody's driveway, bring somebody coffee, just because you know that it would make them happy. Do something for someone else, and that will definitely spark love in you as you pass that love to somebody else. Oftentimes they say that the blessing is in the giving. Like, you get blessed when you give. Sure, the person that you're giving to, the recipient of what you're giving, totally feels blessed, but you also feel it when you give it. During the holiday season and even in everyday life, if you want to cultivate love, be present. If you're in the room with your family, if you're in the room with loved ones, people that are meaningful to you, be in the room. Don't be scrolling on social media. Don't be, looking for something else or a reason to leave, an excuse to leave. Like, be in the room with your family. And if you can't physically be in the room with those people, call them. Be in communion with them, be in community with them, be in connection with them. Maybe call somebody and just tell them, like, hey, I'm really thankful for you. Provide a couple of reasons why you're thankful for them, or bring up a memory that reminds you of why you treasure and value them so much, or why they're so special to you. Like, we don't do that enough with people. Sometimes I think it's because we're worried they might think we're weird. We assume that they already know that, or we haven't given people space to say those things to us. On the other side of it, like, I think sometimes it's hard for us to take compliments or take gratitude from somebody else because we don't feel worthy of it, or we think that, oh, well, if I go, well, thank you for saying that, or, that means so much to me. Or if we even just like receive it at all, it makes us selfish or something. Like, it's so silly. I think we should be lavishing people with gratitude and lavishing people with, hey, you're really special to me. That's something that I've tried to implement a lot with the people around me. It's this idea of, like, if you're thinking something nice, say it. Like, don't hold it back, because you never know how much people need to hear those things. And you never know how much people need to hear that they're loved or feel that they're loved. So I think being present and recognizing opportunities for you to share love with people is incredibly valuable and will help you cultivate love, not just in the holiday season, but, all year round. And as we get closer to the new year, I think people are looking for resolutions and looking for ways to make it the best year yet, the best year ever. And that's definitely something that you can do, is just prioritizing people and saying, again, John Mayer, say what you need to say. Oh gosh, if this gets to him, he's going to be like, wow, steal all my content. And the last thing that I think you can do to cultivate love, to foster love, to experience more love is forgive. We talk about the definition of love in the Bible, and it's not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrong. It doesn't delight in evil. Like, I think forgiveness keeps no record of wrong. Forgiveness is not easily angered. Forgiveness does not delight in evil. So if you can forgive somebody, that is the best way to experience love and to give love, right? So if you want to feel love, whether it's the holiday season or any other time of year, let it go. Whatever it is that you're holding on to that's preventing you from forgiving somebody, let it go. And I know they might have done something truly horrible, but again, like they say, forgiveness is not for the other person. It's not this idea of like, well, I'm letting them off the hook. They did this, and this. No, forgiveness is letting you off the hook. It's taking the weight off of your shoulders. It's removing the bitterness and the resentment that's only harming you. It's more for you than it is for the other person. Stop holding grudges. Stop withholding love from other people. They don't have to be the person that you call every single day. They don't have to be the one that you share all your deepest, darkest, secrets or your biggest passions or dreams with or anything like that. They don't have to be the most intimate person in your life, but you still got to forgive them. You can still give that to them, but more importantly, you can give that love to yourself. So those are just a couple of ways that I think that we can really cultivate love, not just in the holiday season, since we are so close to Christmas, but as we approach 2026 and we get closer to all the things that we are hoping for next year. How do we tap into love? How do we cultivate and create love? How do we use love as we go through the new year as well to, anchor ourselves to in the dark times, in the hard times, to carry with us as we move through this world that can feel shaky and uncertain? How do we use love to our advantage? And for lack of a better term, how do we use love as a weapon, to push back the enemy, to push back the powers of darkness, and to spread light and to spread joy and to spread God's kingdom as well. Those are just a few simple ways that I think that we can do that. Remembering God first, as we do in the holiday season, we should do all year round, serving one another, being present with one another, and forgiving one another. Those are such easy ways that I think that we can truly stir up love and share it with others. I can't believe we only have one more week in our Season's Greetings podcast. Our series. I gotta tell you, I'm getting really, really excited about the new year, as a lot of people do. I've been thinking a lot of things that I want to dive into next year, and just ways that we can connect more and stuff like that. It's got me super thrilled. We're gonna finish our Season's Greetings series next week with hope, which I think is fitting because, again, we are all hopeful for a new year. So I hope that you will close out this series with me and kick off the new year with me. Exciting, right? I'll see you next week.